inquiries and investigations over that period of time. I want to make it very clear, police take this threat incredibly seriously. As I've said for many, many weeks now, the full resources of the state of New South Wales and New South Wales Police have been deployed to confront this very serious threat to our community. I want to make it absolutely clear, and I understand community concerns about this story and similar escalating incidents of anti-Semitic violence in our community, that anyone attempting terrorism, violence, hatred in our community will be met with the full force of the law, that there are massive amounts of police and government resources being devoted to this investigation, that there will be absolutely no tolerance under any circumstances for these acts of criminal violence in our community, and anyone attempting this level of violence in New South Wales will be met by every resource that we have to throw at it. And I'm going to pass over to Dave to speak to you now. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, Premier. As the Premier indicated, on the 19th of January this year at the suburb of Dural, police were contacted and subsequently recovered a caravan on a residential property, rural property. That caravan contained an amount of explosives and some indication that those explosives might be used in some form of anti-Semitic attack. Since that time, obviously, we have taken, as the Premier indicated, the threat very seriously. We've mobilised the Joint Counter-Terrorism Team in relation to conducting the investigation. That team is comprised of us, the New South Wales Police, in addition the Australian Federal Police, the Australian Security Intelligence Organisation and the New South Wales Crime Commission in a joint partnership investigating this matter. As such, there are over 100 officers of those agencies deployed and currently engaged in investigations in this particular matter. Investigations into over the last 10 days have progressed. However, there is a lot to do. We have made arrests on the periphery of this job, but we are still looking for assistance in relation to anyone who saw that caravan parked by the side of the road from the 7th of December to the 19th of January this year in Dural, a caravan that was parked in a hazardous position prior to it being moved by a local resident. I can understand the community concern in relation to what the Premier has outlined and what is currently evolving. However, I can indicate we have no information that there are further explosives in our community in relation to conducting anti-Semitic attacks anywhere. We believe that we have contained appropriately this current threat. It is in the Joint Counter-Terrorism Team environment, and investigations will be ongoing in relation to this particular job and any potential crossovers with Strikeforce Pearl, which, as you know, is conducting investigations into other anti-Semitic attacks within New South Wales. We will not rest until these matters are resolved. We understand the concerns of the community. We understand the concerns of the Jewish community, and we take all these threats exceptionally seriously. This particular matter has escalated out of Pearl because of its seriousness, because of its severity, and as I indicated, is being conducted by the Joint Counter-Terrorism Team. Unless there are any questions that you may wish to ask to myself.
Can we ask about the explosives themselves? What were they, what type, how many, and specifically as well, what were the targets that were listed inside that caravan?
I don't think it's appropriate to nominate the targets. I can indicate that the Jewish community will be made aware of those and have been. I can indicate that the explosives were power gel. We believed obtained from potentially a mining site, but those investigations are ongoing.
Just on that point, Commissioner, just on Chris's point there, did the targets within the Jewish community, did they find out that they were on that note across this week, or did they find out today when they saw it in the press? Have they all been told already by police that they were...
Engagement at different levels of the Jewish community have taken place in relation to the threat. I don't want to really disclose our communication pathways to that community, but we are constantly in communication with the Jewish community. We have been since last October when these incidents escalated, and certainly since October the 7th when we saw what happened at the Opera House.
If police are so concerned about this, why has it taken 10 days for the public to be informed about it, and why hasn't it been released in the normal manner as opposed to being leaked through a newspaper?
There are ongoing investigations which need to be conducted. Ideally, those investigations are conducted with some form of anonymity in relation to what we are trying to pursue. I've indicated that we have made arrests on the periphery of this job, but we still are after other offenders that we believe may be involved. To come out prior to it being put out by particular news establishments would compromise that job. That was going to happen once it became. So we've in discussions with government, we decided to disclose fully what we were aware of and where we're going with this job.
Those arrests that were made on the periphery, what can you say about those? Were they all in Sydney, and what would be alleged those people's roles were in this?
We believe there is some connection between some of the targets we've charged under Strikeforce Pearl and this particular investigation.
So some of the people that have been charged with things like graffiti and lighting fires, synagogues, and that kind of like those offences that we've already known about and seen about also may be linked to this incident?
Correct.
Is there any indication that these were also akin or leads indicating that these alleged perpetrators could have also been paid or under the orders of other people, as we've seen across the last week? Are those indications?
Look, those inquiries are ongoing. It's, you know, we can speculate about what happened until we actually investigate that. We investigate, we don't speculate, and we need evidence to support what our beliefs are. We're pursuing those. As I said, we've got over 100 officers engaged in this investigation, and that's one of the main lines of inquiry. Not just those responsible for placing that caravan, but anyone who may have been responsible for orchestrating that.
For this haven't been arrested yet, if that's what you're saying, how can you be certain that the risk to the public still doesn't exist?
We are aware that we've recovered the explosives that are known to be out there. We believe that through the arrests that have been made on the periphery of this job, through Strikeforce Pearl, that we have mitigated the risk as much as possible at this stage. I'm not saying it's been eliminated. I'm saying it's being mitigated, and that's one of the reasons we're talking today. For members of the public to be vigilant in relation to what they see and what they hear in relation to anti-Semitism in our community. There are individuals in our community who know what happened.
Optically, it's pretty bad, isn't it, that we've had 2 anti-Semitic attacks in 10 days. The Premier did pretty much daily press conferences reassuring the community. All the while there was explosives about 40 kilometres away, and it leaks in tabloids.
Well, I might answer that one. I think it, to be fair, a fair-minded person would say that at each and every one of those media conferences, I made it abundantly clear that we take this incredibly seriously, that every police resources were being deployed to this investigation, and that the threat was ongoing. And I was asked specifically many times whether it had passed, and I was never able to give that assurance. Now, Dave has said, the Deputy Commissioner has made it clear, firstly, the van was in police custody. Secondly, arrests had been made in relation to this investigation. And thirdly, and most crucially, police need to be able to conduct investigations as they see fit. And if that's not through the media because of investigative reasons, then we have to defer to police to make that decision. Second, the last point here is, through Operation Shelter and Operation Pearl, engagement with the Jewish community and Jewish places of community and worship is ongoing. In fact, there's thousands of taskings that have taken place from New South Wales Police to synagogues, Jewish schools and Jewish community centres over that period of time. It's never going to be perfect, but it is constant. And both I was briefed in relation to this, as was the Police Minister. As the Deputy Commissioner has made clear, in addition to the detectives and the officers in Operation Pearl and Shelter, there is 100 police officers through the Counter-Terrorism Command and State Crime that are focusing specifically on this threat.
People are carrying out their normal lives, having this threat, and as Dave Hudson has just acknowledged, they're not 100% sure that the threat is abating. So people have been living their life not knowing that there are people out there who might be paying actors to...
Well, hang on a second. Again, we need to get the facts on the table. Firstly, the van was in police custody It's important that that's a fact that is reported. And secondly, the threat is serious and ongoing and will be met with full police resources.
Deputy Commissioner, the mine site that these explosives were stolen from, you said, where is that?
Those inquiries are ongoing. We haven't narrowed that down to a particular. We're working with the manufacturer, working with the industry to try and identify that. However, and that may lead to who placed the caravan there or the explosives in the caravan. That's one line of inquiry, but there are many in this job that we are pursuing, and that's why so many police are involved.
Can you anything at all about how the caravan was abandoned midway through the plot? Why leave those explosives there? Why leave those clues there? Were they interrupted? Were they disturbed? Did they flee, run?
That's one of the lines of inquiry that we're pursuing, whether it is a strategic matter that they've left those there to be discovered by police or authorities, whether someone was looking for some assistance at court, whether someone was going to disclose the existence of those explosives to us prior to it being recovered by a member of the community and towed to a safe place. At this stage, even though it's 10 days on into the investigation, we are still unsure of those circumstances and we are pursuing every one of them.
The Premier said that there was concerns in the police about increasing anti-Semitic attacks eventually becoming a mass casualty event. When did those concerns first arise within New South Wales Police, and can you explain some more about why you have those concerns about a mass casualty event?
Obviously, the discovery and the detection of the caravan contained with an amount of explosives was not going to be used in the normal anti-Semitic attack that we have seen occur in Sydney, such as graffiti and arson attacks. This is certainly an escalation of that, with the use of explosives that have the potential to cause a great deal of damage. I don't think I need to say any more about why I think it's escalating when you're seeing the tools of their anti-Semitic trade being detected and the damage that they can cause. It is certainly of significant concern to us and to government.
Can you describe how much
do you
damage?
think are linked to this? And have those people been had additional charges yet? Because so far, as far as been put out by police, media, strike force, Pearl charges have all been related to those specific sort of smaller level attacks. So have those people been charged yet?
They've been charged with offences related to Pearl. They are in custody. They are posing no ongoing threat whilst our investigations continue. Not in relation to this, but they're in custody, so there's no requirement for us to charge them at this stage whilst our investigations continue.
Can you describe the damage that could have been done with this level of explosives? Would it be enough to bring down a building? What are we talking about here?
Look, I'm not an expert. I believe the blast zone could have been 40 metres in diameter, but which is a significant amount of damage.
The people in custody, yeah, they in the media last week, the Premier mentioned it as well. There's 4 people in custody for 2 linked incidents since last October in Bondi. Are those the people that your investigators are looking at in conjunction?
Look, we're not disclosing which individuals we're looking at as part of this particular investigation. I can say that apart from the Pearl arrest, we have made other arrests in relation to other offences committed outside of Pearl, not necessarily anti-Semitic, but organised crime-related jobs. And we're aware that certain individuals are in custody and pose no residual threat to the community. They all are part of what we're looking at in relation to this particular job.
Is it looking like right-wing extremism?
I don't think it's... we don't have any particular ideology in relation to what's causing this or any common links between certain ideologies. But nothing's excluded at this stage. We pursue everything until we get to the truth, and we will do that.
Where is the police commissioner at 1 and 2? Are you concerned that there might be a leak in the counter-terrorism aspect of New South Wales, given it's been linked with this?
No, I don't have concerns about the counter-terrorism command. Obviously there are a number of agencies involved in this investigation. And we obviously have a requirement to disclose certain information to others external to the police or external to the New South Wales Police when you enter into that multi-jurisdictional space. So I don't have concerns about individuals within the Counter-Terrorism Command. Obviously, leaking information from the police is an offence for those who aren't operationally entitled to know about it. It's never satisfactory from our point of view. However, this information would have been released quite soon anyway, because it is important that the community is aware of the actions of the police